Netflix is currently in hot water after canceling the series One Day at a Time, which is one of only a handful of Latinx shows on television. Joining us to chat about the backlash and Latinx representation as a whole is In Case You Missed It by HuffPost producer Julie Pinheiro. Okay, Julie, this was such a huge deal when this happened about a month ago. Walk us through what Netflix did.
So One Day at a Time tells the story of a Cuban-American family. It's a sitcom, and so it had 3 seasons on Netflix. After the 3rd season, Netflix, about a month ago, decided to pull the plug. And this was a huge deal. It caused a lot of backlash because it's one of the few actual stories of nuanced Latin representation in TV. And so there was a lot of people that were really upset at Netflix.
Yeah, and they took their anger to social media too. So talk about the backlash specifically on social media and kind of what's happening now with these attempts to save it.
Yeah, so Netflix has a voice as a brand that is super funny, and it's very socially aware, it's woke, and I say that knowing that, the weight of the word woke is that there is, it's very performative and that there's not really much behind it. And so online, Netflix was, when they announced that the show was getting canceled, this was, again, a month ago, they had announced that, they're pulling the plug, and it was because there wasn't quite enough viewership behind the show, but they didn't actually show the numbers behind that, right?
Yeah, that's what Netflix does. No, that's kind of their thing.
Yeah, they always hide their numbers. One thing that I know is that this show has been struggling since its 1st season. So like Gloria Calderon-Kellett, who is like the creator of this show, she wrote this based off of her life growing up. It's very personal. But I think one of the reasons why it hasn't been successful is because One Day at a Time was kind of sold as a reboot. And I just think it didn't do that story justice. I feel like there wasn't trust there from the very beginning for her as a Latinx creator. And I feel like if they had given her the chance to just start a brand new show, it would have been delivered and received a lot better, because One Day at a Time, the title alone, I'm like, what is that?
And being compared to Norman Lear and that Norman Lear original iconic show is probably almost too much for the show to handle. And yeah, I mean, 3 seasons is actually kind of a lot for a Netflix show, and especially for TV. So I think it was more reading Netflix's response that the appearance, like, yeah, we get it, guys, we're a fan too, but this is how it happens. No, like, you're a corporation, this is a business, you do not own the show, Sony owns the show, and they canceled it because they weren't making money off it.
Yeah, and if you're a platform that is talking about being inclusive, do views then outweigh representation? Like, what is the balance there that they're trying to achieve,
It's a great question. With Netflix, they make their money off of membership. It's not necessarily ads in the same way that broadcasting is. So they're very big on brand. When they came out and actually announced the release, the cancellation of the show, their big thing, like you were saying, was, we're here with you. We're super upset. They didn't want to be the villain here. They didn't want to be the one that were canceling one of these shows that's super important to a population of people.
But then they'll pay $100 million to keep Friends.
And they pour money into Narcos, too, which, pours into this this cartel trope that we face all the time.
And it's one of, like we said, only a handful of shows that even represent just a normal daily life from the Latinx community in general. And most of the shows we see on television do play into those just stereotypes of that certain region.
And the Latinx community, and I know you can speak to this too, but the Latinx community is so widely diverse, right? It's a 20% of almost 20% of the US population. To be able to appeal to us is a really hard thing because we come from 27 different countries, right? Like, some of us speak Spanish, but some of us don't, and we're different generations as well. Our narrative is so complex. And so to have nuanced characters that actually have a lot of depth to them, I think as a business decision, that's the best way to actually try to appeal to this really large population of people.
I feel like they could do it if they wanted to. They just don't want to for whatever reason.
Yeah, like there was zero marketing towards this show. Also, like I only ever saw it when people were on Twitter fighting to keep it alive. And I think that's a big issue, especially because we've seen Netflix do some of the coolest marketing things ever that we still talk about, like, to this day. And it's frustrating, and I think another issue, and I know this sounds so silly because people will make jokes and be like, Netflix is only $11, who doesn't have their own Netflix account? So many people from like low-income families can't pay that extra $11 a month. So like, even if you are marketing, like, maybe your target audience they can't afford it. Like, I know people, when the Beyonce documentary got announced, starting Twitter conversations about how can we get as many people on these Netflix accounts to make sure they can actually see this content that's for them.
So that brings up the question, do we think another network will pick up this show, seeing all of the publicity, all the love? I mean, do you think Hulu could pick it up or Amazon Prime? Like, what do you think the future is?
CBS has already tried.
They're trying, yes.
And Netflix is kind of blocking them with their contract.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is a really iffy situation. It's like, if you don't want it, give it away.
Give it away.
That's the thing to me that really got me, because Netflix is a business and they can do whatever they want to do with their business. We can agree with it or not. But when they say they care and when they say they're so heartbroken and yet are going to keep it from the people who really want it for no reason, there is literally no business reason why they can't just let it go to CBS, but they're not doing it.
Also, they've done the opposite. I mean, Arrested Development helped put Netflix on the map, and they got that from Fox. I mean, they should be able to if they want to let a show die, let it be born somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That goes back to what they were saying at the beginning. We care about these stories. We need to find a way to get them told. Put your money behind your words in this situation.
Prove it, Netflix.
Yeah.
Seriously. And really quick, since we care about Latinx shows, Vida is a series on Starz, and it's struggling also. It got picked up for a second season, but like, if we want to keep it, we have to watch it, and that's another subscription service that we have to pay for. But I mean, we really, like, it's on us, I think, to like keep watching this content. Other cool shows, I think, that are worth mentioning, like Hulu has Marvel's Runaways. There's 2 Latinx superheroes there that are young teens. Like, watch this content. It's out there. Pose has so many awesome Latinx characters.
Coming back in June.
Yeah, we have to support these
We've got to show up and let them know that this is important to us, because honestly, they're just following the dollar, and that's not what people want these days. It's not what we crave in our content.
No, definitely not. Well, Julie, thank you so much for joining us and chatting about this. And you can catch In Case You Missed It by HuffPost on HuffPost.com and Yahoo's Roku channel.